In a remote dojo high in the mountains of feudal Japan, a young warrior named Takeshi grew frustrated with his master's teachings. Every morning for 2 years, he had been practicing the same basic sword form, the same movements, the same footwork, the same breathing pattern. While other students moved on to advanced techniques and impressive combinations, Takeshi remained trapped in what felt like endless repetition. One morning, his frustration boiled over. "Master," he said, "I have perfected this form 1,000 times. Why do you keep me here while others advance? My spirit grows restless with this monotony." The master handed Takeshi a cup of water. "Carry this across the training ground," he instructed, "but do not spill a single drop." Takeshi walked carefully, focusing intensely on the cup. He completed the task successfully, though it required all his concentration. "Now," said the master, "perform your sword form while carrying the cup." Takeshi attempted the movements but immediately spilled the water. He tried again and again, each time losing focus on either the sword technique or the cup. Finally, exhausted and humbled, he understood. "The form is not in your muscles," the master explained. "It is in your mind. You believe you have mastered it because your body can perform the movements. But true mastery means your mind is so free from the technique that it can hold other thoughts, respond to new challenges, and remain unshakable under any condition. This is what we call mental steel, and it is forged only through repetition." This story reveals a profound truth about how the human mind develops true strength. The samurai understood something that modern neuroscience has only recently confirmed. Repetition is not the enemy of excellence, it is the foundation of it, but not just any repetition. The kind of deliberate, mindful practice they called Kata training creates neural pathways so strong that actions become instinct, and instinct becomes unshakable presence. When you repeat a physical movement or mental pattern, your brain literally rewires itself. Neuroscientists call this neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to form new connections between neurons. Think of your mind as a dense forest. The first time you attempt a new skill or thought pattern, you are cutting a narrow trail through thick brush. It is slow, effortful, and uncomfortable. But each time you repeat that same path, the trail becomes wider, clearer, and easier to navigate. After enough repetitions, what was once a barely visible trail becomes a well-worn path that you can walk even in complete darkness. This is what the samurai knew centuries before we had the technology to measure it. Modern research shows that information moves from short-term memory to long-term memory through only 3 pathways. Urgency, where stress hormones create a powerful chemical wash that strengthens neural connections. Association, where new information links to something we already know deeply. And repetition, the most reliable method of all. When you repeat an action or thought pattern, you create what neuroscientists call self-perpetuating proteins. At the synaptic level of your neurons, these proteins maintain and strengthen the connection between brain cells. With continued repetition, your neurons actually grow new synaptic terminals, new branches on their neural trees, expanding and strengthening the network. This is not metaphor, this is measurable physical change in your brain structure. The samurai developed kata, which means form or pattern, as their primary training method. These were choreographed sequences of movements practiced thousands of times until they became what we now call muscle memory. But kata was never just about physical technique. It was always about training the mind through the body. When a warrior repeated the same sword strike 10,000 times, he was not just perfecting the movement. He was teaching his mind to remain calm under pressure, to maintain focus despite distraction, to execute complex actions without conscious thought. This freed his awareness to respond to the constantly changing conditions of actual combat. Consider what happens in your own life when you face pressure. Your mind becomes cluttered with options, doubts, and fears. You freeze or react poorly because you are trying to think your way through the situation in real time. But someone who has practiced the correct response through repetition does not need to think. Their training takes over automatically, leaving their conscious mind clear and present. This is the difference between knowing what to do and having done it so many times that your body knows without your mind's interference. The principle applies far beyond martial arts. A surgeon who has performed the same procedure hundreds of times can focus on the unique aspects of each patient rather than worrying about basic technique. A musician who has practiced scales for years can focus entirely on emotional expression rather than where to place their fingers. A speaker who has rehearsed their message countless times can be fully present with their audience rather than anxiously remembering what to say next. In each case, repetition has freed the mind from mechanical concerns and created space for higher-level awareness and response. But here is where most people misunderstand repetition. They confuse mindless repetition with kata training. The samurai did not simply go through the motions. Each repetition was performed with complete presence and attention to detail. They called this zanshin, continuing mind, the quality of sustained awareness that extends through every moment of practice. When you practice with zanshin, you are not just repeating movements. You are building neural pathways of focused attention itself. You are training your mind to remain present, to notice subtle variations, to maintain quality despite the monotony. Modern research on expertise confirms this ancient wisdom. Studies of master performers across every field reveal the same pattern. They do not practice more than others. They practice differently. They engage in what researchers call deliberate practice, repetition performed at the edge of their current ability with complete focus on improvement. Each repetition teaches them something new about the technique or about their own mind. This is exactly what the samurai meant by kata training. You are not repeating the past. You are discovering new depths in what appears familiar. The practical application for your own life is clear but demanding. Whatever skill or quality of mind you wish to develop, you must be willing to repeat the fundamentals far longer than feels necessary. If you want to become calm under pressure, you must practice staying calm in small moments of stress, not once or twice, but hundreds of times. If you want to develop focus, you must practice returning your attention to a single point, not occasionally but daily, not perfectly but persistently. If you want to build confidence, you must repeatedly choose courageous action in situations where the stakes are low, creating the neural pathways that will be there when the stakes are high. The samurai had a saying, 7 times down, 8 times up. They understood that repetition includes failure. In fact, failure is essential to the process. When you fail at a repeated task, your brain receives powerful feedback about what needs adjustment. This is why kata training traditionally included performing techniques both correctly and incorrectly on purpose, training the mind to recognize and correct errors without conscious analysis. Your mistakes, when approached with the right mindset, strengthen your neural pathways more than your successes because they require deeper processing and adjustment. There is another crucial element the samurai understood about repetition. It must serve a purpose that transcends the technique itself. They practiced sword forms not to become good at sword forms, but to embody the principles of presence, precision, and unshakable calm that would serve them in every aspect of life. This is what they meant by do the way. The technique is a vehicle for transforming consciousness itself. When you practice anything repeatedly with this understanding, you are not just learning a skill. You are forging what the samurai called fudoshin, the immovable mind. This quality of inner stability that cannot be shaken by external circumstances or internal doubts. In our modern world, we face constant pressure to move fast, to learn quickly, to achieve results immediately. We are surrounded by shortcuts, life hacks, and promises of rapid transformation. But the samurai way teaches us that there are no shortcuts to mental steel. The path requires patience, humility, and the willingness to repeat what seems simple until it becomes profound. As Miyamoto Musashi, perhaps the greatest swordsman in Japanese history, wrote in his Book of 5 Rings, "If you know the way broadly, you will see it in all things." The repetition you practice in one area of life strengthens your entire mental framework, creating a foundation of inner discipline that supports everything else you do. This is the gift of kata training for the mind. Not just mastery of a particular skill, but transformation of consciousness itself. Through patient, deliberate repetition of fundamental practices, you build neural pathways so strong that excellence becomes your natural state, that calm becomes your default response, that presence becomes your constant companion. This is not accomplished through dramatic effort or intense bursts of activity. It is accomplished through the quiet discipline of showing up day after day, repeating the fundamentals with complete attention, trusting that each repetition is changing your brain at the deepest level. Your mind is like clay on a potter's wheel. Each repetition is a gentle pressure that shapes it. Applied once or twice, the pressure seems to accomplish nothing. But applied consistently over time, it transforms the shapeless clay into a vessel of strength and beauty. The samurai knew that the strongest steel is folded and hammered thousands of times. Each fold adds a layer. Each hammer strike removes impurities. The process cannot be rushed without destroying the integrity of the blade. Your mind follows the same principle. Through patient, deliberate repetition, you are not just building skills. You are forging mental steel. Thank you for watching.